Sumeet Bagadia is now also joining us. Sumit, first let me get your calls on the Nifty. Where do you think markets are headed?
Hi Pankaj, good afternoon. Nifty has immediately support at around 9370 levels, and today's low is also at 9370 only. If 9370 is taken away, then there is a possibility that we might see a fall of around 80 to 100 points in Nifty in next couple of days. So purely for a short-term trading perspective, till that time Nifty is not able to break 9450, or to be very precise, 9500 on higher side. It's better to keep positions light in the market, because if 9370 is taken away, then in next 1 or 2 days or in next 3 to 4 days time horizon, we can see a fall of around 100 points or so in a Nifty. But for a longer term time horizon, Nifty looks strong. If there is any such correction in Nifty, then on lower levels one can initiate long positions, and on higher side, the day Nifty gives breakout above 9500 levels, we will see a rally in Nifty in which we can see levels of around 9700 levels. That would be a longer term time horizon. Purely for a short term trading perspective, 9370 is taken away, then a fall of 80 to 100 points can be seen in the next couple of days.
Right. Any view on Syntex that's down 7% now?
Well, see, it has already given a very good correction today. Now looking at the chart, it seems that if 104 is taken away, then we can see a fall till 100 levels. So immediately it's better to avoid long positions in Syntex. And if anyone wants to have position, then that should be on sell side with a stop loss to be placed at 109 levels on high side for the downside target of 198 levels.
Right, but as of now, it's an avoid.
As of now, it's an avoid, yes.
Right. Sanjeev, what will be your call on Syntex? Of course, they are doing some big restructuring as well. Do you think just avoid when the market is expected to go down? Just avoid these liquid names where beta could be very high if markets are going down?
Yes, and also you have to realize that Syntex has a huge overhang of debt raised overseas from FCCBs. So then that caveat of the rupee strength may play out on the weakness side, and that has been the actual bull leg for it when the rupee has strengthened. And if the reverse takes place for any reason, then that could hurt, and that would hurt on the earnings front also, as margins would fall. So I would say these are sectors to be avoided. Like I said, if you want to be in safe sectors, then some of the beaten down large cap pharma and some of the IT stocks are looking extremely strong. Just like a Wipro or a TCS or an HCL Tech.
Right. Sanjeev, any view on GAIL after the numbers? I mean, that's a name which has done decently well, but numbers were a slight bit of miss. Did you analyze the numbers?
Yeah, I thought that one-off event may have played out negatively and there was too much of expectation. Look, the stock has been a big outperformer. In fact, the three gas utilities, IGL, GAIL and Petronet, we've had huge overweights, Pankaj, and they've had a dream run. And as long as gas prices are where they are, we still think there is room on the upside. However, in the short term, they have technically also shown weakness, and I think there has been a sell-off in most of the oil marketing companies and gas-related stocks, and GAIL is part of that. So I think this is a good consolidation in GAIL. I would recommend closer to 365, 370, or a very, very strong overweight on GAIL, because we think this quarter that could be a one-off because of that event which was being priced in as a one-off exceptional loss.
Right. I think the management of GAIL is briefing about the results. Let's just listen.
Urbanized area. And in GAIL, we are focusing in a large way into that. A lot of environmental agencies are talking about. The major apex courts in the country are talking about environment. So that is one area where we see the major developments are going to take place. The last one is the major important sector is the power. And in the power sector, the way renewable energy is coming and the way pressure is on the coal, gas is in between the coal and the renewable energy. So on one side, there is a surplus demand, there is surplus in terms of supply of power, but on the other side, there is a challenge of providing clean power. So the way solar power is panning out, the new projects and the new price levels are coming up, it offers a great opportunity for the natural gas to play as a bridging role in terms of the off-season and during the night time, that how gas-based power can be made affordable and can supplement with the solar power and the cleaner power. So that's an area where we are focusing today, but of course, there are a lot of gas-based power plants which are stranded, which is a challenge for us to how to operationalize them. The efforts are there in this direction also. The other important area where GAIL is today engaged is petrochemical. Last year, we have produced almost 5,77,000 tons of polymer, which was...
That was the management at GAIL. Markets, of course, are now going down further, and 52 points down for the Nifty now. Not exactly at the day's low, but just about 5-10 points away from that level. Sumeet, any view on the IT sector? It's actually doing well today versus what the markets are doing?
Yes, absolutely. IT stocks are doing good. In fact, it seems that short-term bottom has been made in most of the IT stocks. We have also recommended buy calls in few of the IT stocks like Wipro, HCL Tech Mahindra. Now, immediately looking at the chart, it seems that Tech Mahindra is looking good, and from here on, we can see a move in the counter, in which we can see levels of around 890, 900 levels in next couple of days, probably in next 1 week or 10 days time horizon. I think immediately Wipro is also looking good on charts. TCS is also looking good. Hexaware is looking good. Most of the IT stocks have made a short-term bottom, and from lower levels we are seeing a good recovery in most of the IT stocks. Now, immediately, if anyone wants to initiate a position, then that should be on buy side in HCL Tech for the immediate upside till 890 and 900 levels.
Right. So, Sumeet, in terms of IT names, do you think that one should go overweight now, or as markets are falling, just wait for a little bit of correction?
I think immediately one should take this as a pullback move, as a recovery move. If we see a convincing move in most of the IT stocks for next couple of days, then we can decide on that we are headed for a big upside or no. Immediately, this should be the pullback, and one should take this counter as a defensive counter for next couple of days.
Right. Sumeet, any view on Bank of India? It's at the day's lowest point. It was the top loser yesterday. Today also it's among the top losing names.
Yes, absolutely. See, most of the banking stocks, and especially the PSU banking stocks, has given a correction in last 2 days. Today also we are seeing the same identical move in most of the PSU banking stocks. As far as your question on Bank of India is concerned, in last 2 days we have seen that the stock has given a sharp correction from higher levels. From the levels of 180, we are seeing the stock is trading at around 145 levels. Now, looking at the chart, it seems that some more downside is left in the counter, in which we can see levels of around 138 or even 135 in next 3 to 4 days time horizon. Immediately, it's better to avoid long positions. Those who have taken short positions in last 2 days, they can hold on their existing positions. And if anyone wants to initiate a fresh trade in the counter, then that should be on sell side for the downside target of 138 and 135 levels. And the best stop loss which one can place from if anyone is initiating short positions at CMP, then the best stop loss which one can place is somewhere at around 151 and 152 levels. So the trailing stop loss should also be placed at around 151, 152 levels. If anyone is initiating fresh short positions, then also the stop loss should be at around 151, 152 levels for the downside target of 138 and 135 levels.
Right. Sanjeev, in terms of results so far, what is the call that you have? Do you think that results so far have been decent, but it was priced in because of the recent run-up in the markets?
Yes, you've summarized it well. I think the results were better than expected, and it's been a mixed bag. Certain stocks, certain sectors have shown huge outperformance, and we know where the laggards are. But like I said, the Nifty is already encompassed all that. We had a 9,500 target for, we think 10,000 is definitely coming, but it might be stretched to the end of the year. So now this type of run-up, an unbridled, just one-way market is where I think a lot of froth is lying. So I think the best of the results is already priced in.
Right, and just a word on the PSU banks, especially Bank of India or any of these smaller banks. We spoke about the large ones. You think smaller banks are more vulnerable to slippages?
Yes, and like I said, we thought that run-up was far in excess. As a disclosure, we have short on most of the mid-cap PSU banks and the Bank Nifty itself. And if we had to buy, we would just suggest three names, that is State Bank, Bank of India, State Bank, Bank of Baroda and ICICI Bank. We think these three corporate lenders are which are going to outperform, and you want to be with the large caps because you have safety of earnings, you have safety of visibility, and I think ICICI Bank is definitely going to be re-rated.
Right. Sanjeev, thank you so much for taking our time for us. Sumit, just request you to stay on. I have a couple of more questions, but markets are about to close. I'll just come back to you after that. About 110 seconds remaining for markets to shut. 54 points down for the Nifty, 9,383 for the Nifty, 202 points down for the Sensex, and the mid-cap markets have gone down further. Sun Pharma, on the back of earnings of Taro, was down 4%, 11.6 million shares traded. Tata Motors down about 2 rupees, that's about 50 points down here and there. GAIL is down 2.5%, 380, and Tata Power was down around 1.7. Adani Ports down 6%, 330 rupees for Adani Ports, 23 rupees lower. Bharti Airtel down about 1 rupee. Aurobindo Pharma down 6% decline. Mind you, it was down 5% yesterday as well. ONGC down 1.5%, Power Grid down about 1 rupee or so, and Bharti Infratel down close to 2%, 379 for Bharti Infratel. Coal India down 2%, 267 for Coal India. Yes Bank down about 6 rupees. HCL Tech up 7 rupees or so, and Ambuja Cement down about 4 rupees, 239 for Ambuja Cement. NTPC 2 rupees lower, 156 for NTPC. Reliance is down 20 rupees, 1.5%. Lupin is down 1.2%, 1250 for Lupin, and Infosys is down about 3 rupees. Wipro up 1%, 5 rupees higher. BPCL 4 rupees higher, 700 rupees. Z Entertainment down close to 9 rupees or so, 1.6%, and Kotak Bank flat with the negative bias. TCS also lower, that's the closing bell for you. Markets have shut for the day, 56 points down, almost at the day's lowest point when we look at the market. Adani Port was the top loser for the day. There was some news flow regarding the Adani Ports business, which it's not clear at this point of time, but it went down and went down quite significantly. 6.5% decline, 6.2 million shares traded for Adani Ports, looking in extremely weak for that name. Aurobindo Pharma down 6%. Since morning, it was among the top losers. It went down, and I think it closed at the day's lowest point. So extremely weak move as far as Aurobindo Pharma is concerned. 5.5 million shares traded for Aurobindo. Cipla down 5%, 532, 533 for Cipla. About 31 rupees decline for this name, 1.2 million shares traded. Sun Pharma, as we have been pointing out about Taro results, that's taken the stock down and continues to do so. So about 11 odd million shares traded for Sun Pharma and about 615 in terms of volumes. Bajaj Auto was down 3.5%, 2,812 for Bajaj Auto, 100 rupees decline. About 5 lakh shares traded for Bajaj Auto, 2812 for Bajaj Auto, 5.5 lakh shares traded. GAIL 10 rupees lower. I think that was the adjustment that just happened. So 9.8. That was also a results reaction. Let's go back to Sumit. He's still with us. Sumit, let's talk about some of these pharma names. What's happening with Aurobindo Pharma?
See, all the pharma have given a very sharp correction as far as your question on Oro Pharma is concerned. It's trading near very low levels, and in last couple of days we have seen that the counter has given a one-way correction, and in last 4 to 5 days we have seen that the stock has almost given a correction of around 70 points from higher levels. Looking at the weekly chart, it seems that from here on some more sell-off can be seen, in which there is a possibility that that we might see levels of around 510 in next couple of days. I think immediately it's better to avoid long positions in Oro Pharma, and those who have taken short positions in the counter at around 570-580 levels, they can hold on the existing sell positions for the immediate downside till 510 or even 500 levels in next couple of days. Till that time, the counter is not able to give convincing close above 590 or 600 levels. It's better to avoid long positions. The day Oro Pharma gives convincing close, or the day or for next couple of days, till that time Oro Pharma is not able to give positive close, it's better to avoid long positions. Immediately the structure is weak, sector is weak, we can see some more downside till 510 levels.
Right. Sun Pharma, what will be your call?
Sun Pharma has major support at around 600 levels. Today we had seen that the counter has tested 600 levels, and from there we had seen a pullback. If the counter is able to break 600 levels on lower side, then there is a possibility that we might see same situation in Sun Pharma also, like Oro Pharma. We can see a fall of around 40 to 50 points. That means a fall of around 8 to 10% from 600 levels. A closing below 600 is required for such fall. Till that time 600 is not taken away, we can see some pullback, some recovery in the counter. A fresh bullishness in the counter can be seen only if the counter is able to give a convincing close above 660, 670. To be very precise, 670 levels. Till that time, Sun Pharma is not able to break the levels of 670 on higher side. The counter will move in a range of around 670 on higher side to 600 on lower side. And if 600 is taken away, a fall of 50 points can be seen.
Right. Adani Ports, what will be your view?
See, overall the structure of overall the structure of the stock is looking good. As far as positional view is concerned, one should initiate long positions in Adani Port at lower levels. That means somewhere at around 315, 320 levels. Today's closing is at around 331. There is a possibility that we might see a fall of around 8 to 10 points from present levels. But for a longer term time horizon, for next 3 to 6 months time horizon, one can initiate long positions at around 315, 320 levels. And purely for a trading perspective, one can be on sell side for the targets of 320, 315 levels.
Right. Sumit, thank you so much for taking out time for us. Always good to get a perspective from you. That was a view from Sumeet Bagadia.